Hi guys, Flamewing80 here with a review over Dragon's Reach Part 2. First, I'm going to apologize for this taking forever to get the video out. I realize it updated a while back. It was me not liking the last instance that much, but I will get to that when we get to the last instance. First, we're here with Party Politics, the first quest that you end up doing. The party in and of itself is relatively interesting. I rather enjoyed playing the party in and of itself. It was fun to be able to go through and have something that wasn't combat oriented, just tons and tons of story content. However, I do admit I really disliked the time aspects of this part, where all of a sudden the guy would become very impatient and you would be timed on your response because it meant you couldn't reply. Well, you could reply, but either you couldn't get to the reply fast enough if you were trying to read everything, or you couldn't read everything. And it felt like they just plain didn't want you reading it, and it felt too rushed in that instance. Just way, way too rushed. I found it fun nonetheless because it, like I said, just a really nice break from combat. Another matter I liked was how Anise would have the illusion talking in the background a lot, and it was just nice to have that little flair added in, especially since it brought back things from South Sun Cove. However, I will admit South Sun Cove was one of the first Living World updates I ever did, and I came in at the very end of it, so I was kind of confused on the storyline there. Anyways, moving on to the next part, the Waypoint instance. I liked the boss fight in that one quite a bit. I also liked how it started out with you doing displaying how it worked for Tammy's invention. It made sense that it would call Morgemoth's minions to us. So it was really nice to see the minions come and have a boss fight there. The ending of it, however, was what I expected, but I wasn't really wowed by it, and I was kind of upset that Tammy ran off. And on that same note, as you went further in to the next one, you had another follow this path to find Tammy type thing to lead you to the next new area. The new area was blunt on where it was because you had the path in the first place, and I didn't need to have to follow a path to get there. You could have just put the star up, but it does make sense in the same instance because there would then be people complaining about how the path was not easy to follow. They didn't have a clue where it was, and so on and so forth. Granted, I also broke out of the map to get up there once by mistake, so I knew exactly where I was going, which is highly besides the point. Anyways, in the Tammy and the Asura instance, I felt very helpless during the cutscene. I liked the cutscene, but the original feeling when I came in there was I was scared to death that they would kill Tammy. I know they actually can't do that because Tammy is a kid and there would be so many repercussions to that, but I admit I was really nervous that they were going to kill her, and I was just like, no, I like Tammy, you cannot kill Tammy. So I was just kind of had that moment where I was like, let me out of the cutscene, let me out of the cutscene, let me out of the cutscene. And I liked that because I hadn't realized up until that point that I had started to have a slight attachment to some of the characters in the game, apart from a couple that I really liked from the original personal story. I seriously doubt that we are supposed to like the Arcane Council. They come off as rather rude, and they don't like you, they don't like Tammy, they treat Tammy very poorly, which makes perfect sense to why Tammy would run off with the invention. Nonetheless, Tammy's acting like a little brat here, period. She just is acting like a brat. It's like you need to think of the larger picture here, Tammy. I know you spent a lot of time on that invention, and I know it's yours, and I know you did it outside of everything, but so many people's lives are at stake that the way Tammy's acting just doesn't feel right. She shouldn't be acting like that. Although, yeah, I get her point of view there too. In the last instance, I'm just going to state a lot of this instance I absolutely do not like. I enjoyed the story aspects of it. I enjoyed speaking with the Pale Tree, getting to see Tahern again, getting to see what happens with it. But I did not like how Tahern gets one line. Seriously, one line? I get the fact people hate his voice, but I'm one of the few people who absolutely loves Tahern's character. I like the fact he's a scholar who is thrown into the instance where he has to be a military marshal. I like how he's trying to settle into this role, and the voice of Tahern fits what he is. He's a scholar. And if you hadn't noticed, a lot of people do have monotone voices, and his voice fits his character. It fits him perfectly, in my opinion. It's the way he was written to be, so it's perfect. And then if they couldn't get the voice actor, it makes perfect sense to why he had a recycled line. But if it's just because of the fact that they're walking a fine line between what the fans want and what they need for the story, then it's hurting more than helping, in my opinion, to not have him talking. In the same instance, people just hate Tahern. They hate him just because they think he stole the story in the limelight when he didn't. It's not Tahern's fault, people, but that's besides the point. That part really hurt me for liking the last instance, the World Summit. But also soloing the boss fight here on a Mesmer that is very squishy and in the wrong type of build for this type of fight is not fun. And I didn't feel like looking up a different build each time I played it. And I didn't feel like trying to do a shout out for someone to come and help me, especially since I'm not in a guild. It's kind of hard to find people, especially this late in the game when I was recording again. I also had forgotten what most of the fight was about, so it's probably my fault that I kept dying. But the fight in and of itself is interesting, just very long and very tedious, and I hate how the fact if you back roll off, you end up dying and having to respawn no matter what. I cannot tell you how many times I dodged roll off the edge when trying to record this. It's just, why? This is not fair. I just was trying to dodge, and you killed me. Not cool. But like I said, I really enjoyed the storyline. I liked having the Pale Tree remember I was a Sylvari. I liked her remembering everything that I had done. Tahern even mentions it at one point, I believe, if you're talking to him, which was nice. And I get that they can't do that in the voice acting, because that would be expensive, and you would have to do it for 5 different races, and yeah, just expensive there. Anyways, overall, I liked the story, despite my complaints here. It was interesting, it was fun, and I think what hurts it the most is just the fact that they're going to have such a long wait between this one and the next, although I do like the idea of the feature pack coming out next.
Please, I must share something with you. I'm fading.
Best part in the entire storyline was just that cutscene. I absolutely adored that cutscene, and the fact that the Pale Tree had a part in it. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. This is Flamewing80 signing out.